Are the words that are coming out of your mouth, are they powerful or powerless? Poison or potent? Passionate or passive? The words, once they're out, you can't retrieve them. So when you are preparing for that meeting, how do you want those words to land? Do you want to be a friend, a love, a peace, a success, a joy magnet, or do you want to be a repellent? Those words can make a difference.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Next Best Thing podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Cline-Thomas, and I'm here to help you strategically navigate all of your career and life transitions. And as we like to say around here, a pivot and a plan B are not required. Now, before we dive into this conversation, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Doing that really helps others just get to see this impactful content. Also, our newsletter is here. Next Nuggets is going to be delivered to your email inbox every other week. Now, I'll share gems from this podcast and provide you with additional resources to get you from where you are to where you hope to be. All you have to do is go to the website, thenextbestthingact.com. Again, it's the name of the podcast, myinitials.com. The next best thing, ACT.com. Just put in your email address to sign up. Now we're going to start this episode with a seemingly simple question. How are you showing up in life? Like for real, not just if people like to be around you, but are you in a position of power or are you passive? Is your presence inviting or do you turn people away? Are you making a lasting impact? Well, my guest today is Linda Clemons. She's a global sales and body language expert. And let me tell you, I have seen her in action at conferences, inviting people who volunteer on the stage. And just by the way they're standing, she tells them all about themselves. And she's right.
Let me tell you what I appreciate about you. If anyone has you as a friend, nada, you are a loyal friend to the very end. That's who you are. And what's so special about you, there are things that you often go through in your personal life and your personal journey. And sometimes, nada, you don't tell everybody about it. People come to you, nada, all the time. You're the one that's been the strength. And sometimes you need someone to talk to and share what you're going through. You understand what I'm talking about? I do. Use your mic. I do. You do?
Linda gives new meaning to a read, honey. She sees people, sometimes in a way that their truth brings them to tears, all in a good way. So today we'll learn how to make sure that your nonverbal communication is saying exactly what you wanted to say and is sealing the deal. But it's bigger than that. This is about showing up fully and how to get yourself in alignment. So buckle up for this conversation that I'm so excited about. All right, let's begin. Linda, thrilled does not even describe how I feel about having you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. It is an honor, a privilege to be in your presence. And thank you for what you're doing, sharing your message, strategies, tools, and just words of encouragement and comfort to your audience. I thank you.
Yeah, we're both trying to help people make it through the best way and the most authentic way that they can, and I really want to kind of go back because I didn't think about body language very much until I encountered your session in 2018. Let's first talk about how it comes to play in your work, because I know you're a corporate trainer, but explain the work you do with lawyers and sales professionals.
So thank you so much. So for those that are listening and watching, understand this, that our nonverbal communication is our first language, because before you were able to utter a word, you made sounds, but when you wanted something, you would take it. And then of course, little babies cry until they get their request made and you pick them up, you love on them. So for a long time, it's primitive. We were communicating without the gift of being able to form words and language. So what does that mean when I say primitive?
It's something that we all possess around the world. We possess the emotions unless there is damage in different areas of the brain. Your communication, and more specifically, the area that I love and focus on, nonverbal, is so critical because it doesn't matter what you say, your nonverbal will get in the way. What does that mean? The moment that you think about something, it comes about on your face. So how many times you're thinking, oh gosh, here comes this person. The moment that you think about it, then the facial expressions, your eyes roll up, you do the eye roll. See, because you couldn't help it, because the part of your brain called the amygdala is your truth brain, right? So think about this. It helps me in my interpersonal skills. Wow. It helps me as being a sales expert. So back in the day, I'm going to talk about how many years. Back in the day, I was a top sales producer, went on to become a top sales trainer, and everyone would think that, okay, Andrea, that she's got some kind of superpower. No, it wasn't that. It was the art and the gift of being present in your present. When I am present in your presence, I begin to see all the little nuances. So when I'm asking you questions and talking to the customer, the client, so do you think about plan A, plan B? Is this something that you would use? The moment that they think about it, then I'm looking at the facial expressions. They're processing the questions, but the answer shows up on their face and their body. I think it was an old R&B song that had in the lyrics, "It's written all over your face."
Yeah.
It is. So in using that, helping lawyers with jury selection, working with CEOs and C-suite, C16, and their executive presence, how you show up. And my granny would say, baby, people may not remember what you said, but they're going to remember what you did for them and do action. So that's why it's so important in everything you do. If you are a leader out there watching, if you are someone who presents on the stage, negotiator, or just someone who wants to improve their interpersonal skills, it is critical for you.
So, do you not believe that people can fake it to them till they make it?
I love that phrase. As a matter of fact, I would like to give attribute. That is a phrase that was coined by the late Mary Kay Ash. Fake it till you make it. So speaking to the distributors and the leaders is just act is, walk in, walk into. So you begin to think that you are and fake it. But here's the Linda Clemons phrase. We're going to break it here for you. The phrase is this: the fake will eventually fade. Look at the now.
Yeah.
If everybody's watching, you notice that we both went. The head
Yeah.
went into the emotional range. How come the head didn't go like this? As a child,
Right.
right? It went because you felt it. You
Yeah.
took it in. It's like looking at that embrace or that wonderful love encounter, and you see someone finding each other. We go. Because you received it. So the fake will fade. Okay, you get the original this, the fake this. The original may last a little bit longer because it has the qualities. The fake will fade. So what does that mean as it relates to your brain? You're telling the brain, okay, I need to act a certain way that I don't believe in. Uh-oh. I need to act a certain way because I got to get the job. I want to pass the interview. I want to get to the next level. I want this person to like me that I don't really believe in. And then what's going to happen? You're sending the brain mixed messages, especially the truth brain, which is the amygdala, is saying that, okay, wait a minute. Oh, you're giving me a command to act this way. That means I've got to send the signals that align with that. But if you don't have the belief and conviction, how are we going to sustain it? So the new phrase for me is, yes, you can fake it till you make it, maintain it, make it become a habit. Otherwise, the fake will fade.
I have a list of questions. I'm going to throw them out because, okay, we're going to go there. So just as a woman, as a Black woman, just being in the workplace. Now it's a little bit more open where they're like, be authentic. But that was not the message when I entered the workforce, right? And so it was straighten your hair, wear something, wear certain types of clothes, like certain things that were not authentic to you. That's what you had to do to kind of get ahead. And so right now I'm finding myself where I'm trying to unlearn a lot of different things, but they're so ingrained. They're so ingrained in me. How do you, when you're trained to be a certain way, but it's not always the most authentic to you. How do you get to that point?
So let me share this with you, and it's so important. The reason why we get to a state of discomfort, because we have that state of dis-ease, just like disease, of something, it's disconnected. So we are in an environment where we are now manipulating our mind to be who we're not. So, and then what happens, you'll have a resentment towards that. But here's the thing that I would suggest you to do. You could talk to anyone who is a veteran or retired military person. I have a few friends that they were so ingrained, if you will, conditioned, if you will, to get up early. If they get up, be at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, that even though they've been out of the military for years, it's entrenched in them. Now, I always ask them, do you like that? Do you ever want to sleep in? You know what? When I realize when I get up early and start my day early, I give myself an extra 2 hours every day that adds on to my year. Wow. So but there's a benefit of that, because sometimes the things that we are challenged to do, if we have resistance towards it, then we won't see the good. So there's a quote that I love by the late Dr. Wayne Dyer. Be open to everything, but attached to nothing. Now,
Yes.
open to everything. So, okay, had to go in there, play this game, have to do this. Okay, but wait a minute. If the purpose, if you say the words, I've got to play the game. What is the purpose of the game? What is the purpose of the Olympics? What is the
Yes.
purpose of a race? What is the purpose of the Hunger Games? What is the purpose of survival? What is the purpose of it? If you're going to play the game of life, you want to play to win. Everywhere we go, there's different games, different play boards with different rules.
Mm-hmm.
So what's wrong with going in and looking at this and saying, look, what I have to do, long as it does not compromise my moral compass, my integrity, my self-worth, I can add my sauce to it and play it on my terms.
Got it.
See, but
Got
here's
it.
what happens. We go with such resistance that the message of the resistance comes off differently, and then it impacts us. So you know what? This person's not a team player. This person is not this. They're being rebellious. They're being with this. And really, we're having the internal battle with ourselves. So look, this company, this entity has survived without me, and they're going to survive when I'm gone.
Right.
So if I'm going to so what is my mission? What is my mission? If my mission is to move through the corporate ladder, to get to that special elevator that takes me to the top, I have a mission. I have a responsibility, because I'm able to go there to send the elevator back down and to bring others up, to bring their talent, skills, and their gifts. So sometimes I'm going to tell you what my granny would say. I got to do a granny book.
You
I
do.
gotta do a granny book. My granny would say, baby, sometimes you got to go through it to get to it. And what Linda Clemons would say, even a rose has to grow through some dirt to come out beautiful. So
Mm-hmm.
when you understand that, you don't take it personal. I don't let those things attach to me. I like to go in every company that I've worked for. I got to tell you, every job, let me put it this way. Every job that I've had in my life prior to being an entrepreneur was always sales related, always sales. And every company that I've participated in, I've been in commission sales all of my life. And I've been the number one sales producer and or the record setting producer. I go in, learn the rules. Remember, who would have thought that someone would break, what, at the 4-minute race? Be like, now everybody's breaking records like crazy because someone showed that it could be done. Who would have thought that we will have someone actually deliver mail to our mailbox when at a time in a day it was delivered by horseback that would take weeks? So know the rules and look at how I can make it better and make it work for me before I attack it. That's the thing. And then, so you have to ask yourself, if someone asking me to do something that is against my moral compass, my integrity, if it's not changing who you are, bring your best self to the mat, to the subject. Bring your best self. Be it the way I wear my hair, the color of the clothes that I wear. But however, and I tell young people all the time, they say, well, Miss C, I want to be me. I said, okay, I want that. I want your authentic self. So tell me, what did me look like when you went for the job interview? See,
Right,
don't
right.
manipulate it when it's good for you.
Right.
Don't manipulate it when it's good for you. And all of a sudden you hear crickets, they get silent. Well, I had to, oh, wait a minute. Don't we finish the sentence. Well, I had to go and get the job. But my mother would have said, you got to make sure you dress to impress. Oh, so I tell young adults, millennials and Zs, dress for how you want to be addressed.
Right.
Take it for whatever you want. Know the rules. Know how you can win the game without compromising your moral compass, your level of integrity. But I want you to be open for opportunities that can take you to the next level. Because here's what's going to take place: closed mind, closed body, closed door, closed opportunities. That was a long
Yes.
answer, but I had
No,
to
it's
take
so
you out around
good.
the block.
No, I'm so glad you did. So how are we showing up? How do you see people showing up in ways that where people are relinquishing their power because of their nonverbal communication? They might not even know it. Because one of the things that you're so good at, and we'll have a clip to introduce you, is that you get people on stage and you read them. You read them just by standing there. And I remember one woman, you said, all my life I had to fight. She was just standing there. She didn't say one word. And you just looked at her and you said, all my life I had to fight.
And see, it goes back again. You know, technology is great. Put a man on the moon. Technology is allowing you and I to reach thousands, if not millions, through a platform.
Mm-hmm.
However, would you, if you've given the choice of how you and I met, would you have rather experienced what you did in the live or right on the virtual? You love being there in person.
Yeah.
There's something about it, energy in the fire. So what I'm saying, that high tech will never ever replace high touch. How does it relate to your question? Is being there right beside her, present in that moment, looking at her, because all of them didn't even know what's going to take place. They volunteered though. They
Yeah, they
volunteered.
did.
They weren't
I knew
voluntold.
better. I knew better. I was like, I'm not ready to know about my life yet. I'm not ready for the truth. I'm not
And
ready.
so they volunteered, and then the magic began to happen. So one of the things I get asked all the time, and people will say to me, okay, we've had FBI people. We've had other body language experts. We've had behavioral specialists. We've had psychologists. Wow, Linda, we've had all these kind of people come and talk on different subjects, and some with a variation of what you speak about. But we've never had anyone do it the way you do it.
Right.
And so people, they always quite often ask me, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Club boy, whatever. It is exercising of my God-given gifts and talents and skills and expertise and knowledge, and taking all of that to be present with the person who is in front of me. And so the moment that they feel that, then what happens is two couple things will take place. They're gonna get a little nervous. The last person is scared to death. Okay. You saw that. The first person is like sometimes a little bit in shock as to what's going on. But the last person is afraid to death, like, what in the world did I volunteer for? And you know, I do it in a most respectful way, in
Mm-hmm.
a safe place if possible.
Yes. Yes.
But that everybody says, so what is it? And I'm going to be teaching that and training on that. And once people begin to learn the art of being present and truly present, not just hearing. So if I say, can you hear? Oh, did you hear that? Hearing sound, but listening so hard till it hurts. Listening so hard that when I call you up, my friend, and say, hey, sis, hey, queen, how you doing? And you say, Linda, I'm okay. I know you're not.
Mm-hmm.
See, your voice said it, but no, you're not. I'm hearing the thing behind the voice. And that's the thing that's going to strengthen your social interactions, your business interactions. It's the thing that's going to remold and make you better, not bitter. It's the thing that levels you up. And it's the thing that helps you increase your emotional intelligence. And I love it. Mac, do I have time to tell a story?
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity to speak in Michigan. and at a high school. And there were about, I guess my brother went with me, there were 800, I'm just maybe 800 students. And it was quite interesting talking to them about their little body language, preparing them for their job interviews. And I did the same demonstrations with the young adults. Of course, they asked questions as to what would happen if you get stopped by a police officer. And they asked questions that were relevant to them. So at the end, so I did some fun things with them and they loved it. It was after my presentation and preparing to leave. A young man made his way because he was sitting in the balcony area. He made his way to the back of the stage and he said, "I want to speak to Miss C." Because I tell the kids, "You can call me Miss C. What's up? I want to speak to Miss C." And he said, "No, she has to go. I heard and saw there was a young man." No, 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 no. I've got time for any young adult. There's a message for you that just heard that.
Yeah.
You have time for any young adult. And the young man came up to me and he said, "Wow, what you did on the stage was so amazing. It's like you were reading their mind," and da da da. And he went on and on and on. And he said, "It's amazing the things that we can tell with this body language thing. But here's what got me." He asked me this question. He looked down. He asked me this question. "Can you," eyes go up, eyebrow flash. I'm teaching in the moment here, y'all. Eyebrow flash. And he asked me this question. "Can you tell if someone doesn't want to live anymore?" And at that moment, I knew. I gave him some words of encouragement, and I was obligated to let the superintendent, let the principal know what's going on. And needless to say, the young man was troubled. You know, this is all of a sudden, most recently, he was having challenges in school. And then when the principal said, "Hey, you know, we had a speaker here, talk to the parents," and they found letters.
Wow.
Now the young man's doing well because they got him the help that he needed.
Right. It was a cry for help.
But what if I wasn't listening? Hearing. Did you hear that noise? Right. Did you hear that noise? No, that was a siren. No, that was a cry. That was a squelch. That was a hyena. That was this. That's listening to identify the message.
Is that, you think, the biggest thing that people are not exercising that holds them back?
Absolutely. Because we are, I call it, living in a time crunch world, fast food world, quick, 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 quick. They even have funerals that have drive-thrus now. Okay, fast, fast, fast. Our social media, the message can only be so long because now we've got the attention span, who knows, of a flea. You know, so everything. So guess what? Someone says, your team member, your employee, co-worker, "Hey, you got a minute?" Wow. Sometimes we don't. And sometimes, yeah, look at my face. Yeah, look at my hand. Yeah, come on in. Take away the sound and want everybody watch me. Look at that. Face, hand, look at her hand. Is this come on in now? No, you didn't even have the words. It wasn't with the words. Yeah, come on in. Take away the sound. Dismissal. I don't have the time. Shoo. So that's the piece that's missing. That's the piece that's missing when someone comes up to you. "Oh my gosh, did you hear? XYZ are getting a divorce." And you say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know." Girl, they've been acting this way all of a sudden. And then you hear, people hear stories about people that they know, and they share the stories about people that might have committed suicide. Why is it that you see the signs after they're gone? The attention, the focus is so critical.
Yeah. You know, I like the study that you talk about with the breakdown of, you know, the 7%, you know,
Yes.
like you break that down for us about
And
how
that's
much, how communication is received.
absolutely. And for those of you, you can look it up and do your research. It's called the Communication Theory by Dr. Maharabian. The study was done out of UCLA well over 50 years ago. Yes, you have a lot of other behavior experts. Everybody challenges every study, but that study's been standing for a long time. It can be different based on where you're from. So in the study, it said that our communication based on his study 7% words. So what happens when you don't speak the language? Okay. So 7% words are the words that are coming out of your mouth. Are they powerful or powerless? Poison or potent? Passionate or passive? The words, once they're out, you can't retrieve them. So when you are preparing for that meeting, how do you want those words to land? Do you want to be a friend, a love, a peace, a success, a joy magnet, or do you want to be a repellent? Those words can make a difference. There are words that are causing wars, 7%. So whether it's 7 or higher, that's the study. And according to a study, 38% is our tonality. So take away the words. Doesn't matter what language you speak. I can tell from your tone if you're angry.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 38%. So it's not what you say or how you say it. Quite often the way it's delivered is what they hear. And 55% is nonverbal. So if you add the 55 and the 38, 93% of our communication, it's nonverbal. Wow. So what I elected to do, is to be a tone master and a body language master, listening for the tone. So even if your language is different, I'm going in for the tone.
And that's just you saying that. That's why where you can go to another country and you like ask for directions and
Yes.
somebody can help you even though you don't speak the same language.
Yes. And now with technology, they got devices for that. You can
Yeah.
say, I'm in Portugal. I need to ask for directions. So to tell you how to ask for it, and you can play it. So, but the tone is still technical. So that's why when people are now using the voice enhancements and they're doing with the technology and all the chat, this AI, this and that, honey, I'm here to tell you. Until a little baby could come out of a robot. The human touch and that connection will always be powerful. And the more that we crave, the more that we have technology, the more we're going to crave human touch
That makes sense.
because we're wired for it.
So those people who are, just great speakers, great leaders, they really coalesce, millions of people. What are their common characteristics that people are connecting to?
Number one, commitment to what their cause is, committed to it. They got a relentless, committed, their commitment to it. Conviction that they believe in their core. This is what I was made for. This is my purpose on this earth. And this is what sometimes we don't do that. Okay. And they have the follow through. They're committed to action. So they dare do the things that others think about doing. And so people get excited about that and they live vicariously through them and they're attracted to them. Then they become, and of course, the other C, what great leaders have is charisma. Either got it or you don't, is charisma. And that's critical with anyone that's a top influencer or personality. There was something about them that lights up is the charisma.
How about for,
There are only a few that are out there that because it's who they are, their platform, that their interview style is real dry like this. That's their platform. Their audience likes that. But everybody's got their own tribe, right?
right. How about for introverts? Can introverts do this? Can introverts light things up and have those deep connections?
Introverts can own it. They got to first own it themselves. So all the introverts out there, here's what I want you to do. This is your homework. I want you to write down the word enthusiasm. I want all introverts out there, extroverts, you can write it down too. But write down the word enthusiasm and take the last 4 letters, IASM. And this is your acronym. I am sold myself. That's what enthusiasm is about. When you're sold on your juice, when you're sold on your joy juice, when you're sold on your talent and skills. Now, here's what you introverts got, your superpower. Studies have shown that introverts make some of the best salespeople, great in persuading, because you all are good one-on-one. You make that because you're good one-on-one. The attention, you may not always like being put on the spot on the stage, but man, you can slay a room one-on-one. And so master that. And then you will have raving fans and evangelists that are just like you, part of the tribe, bringing people to you. But you have to be sold yourself.
That's so good to hear because I'm an introvert, although I was a local news reporter, so I was on TV. So there was always that friction. And I remember being pulled into my boss's office, and he was like, basically, I needed more enthusiasm
Yes.
in terms of how I emoted, and that just was like not my personality type. And so I was trying to find myself in doing all of that, and that was really, really hard to do. But I knew that when I went into interviews, I would assess people very quickly so I could know if they were stressed, if they were nervous, and then alter the interview so we can both have the best experience out of it. Like, I'm always assessing others in the crowd and stuff like that. So it's great to know that there's a place for people
So
like
let me ask
us.
you this. Tell me why. What was your motivation for doing this podcast, for having your own program? What chose you? What made you go down this path?
Because it was what I was experiencing. I'm trying to put out what I need for myself. So in terms of, I'm going through my whole life transition right now, and I was looking around, and everything that I was hearing would require me to be a different person, essentially.
Right.
So I wanted to learn how to maximize my agency and leverage it over and over again, right?
Great.
To Because I still am a journalist regardless, right?
Right.
And so I just wanted to tell stories on various platforms. This allows me to do it on and so I just am now living a life that's more authentic
To
to
your
my gift.
wow. So I want to ask you this one other question. Another question. What is the one thing that gives you joy?
This gives me a lot of joy. Like,
See,
I love it.
now you've got this on tape. Look how your face lit up, your vocal tone changed. You now have that on tape. So that's what your boss was talking about. That energy that just came across, I felt it. This
Mhm.
your face lit up. So and what what happens is those that are introverts who internalize. So the reason why you were able to pick up and read how the person was because you are discerning and internalizing. And most of the time when we do it in a neutral state. When someone is sharing a problem with you or something that they've gone through, you're doing it in a neutral state because you're trying to analyze it, break it down, and you're really listening. But when it comes across, it may come across as disconnected because it comes across neutral. The
Mhm.
moment that you talked about what gives you joy, you lit up, and that person may be feeling, I give her joy too. She likes
Mhm.
me. That's the connection that all the introverts who are like that have to do. Because otherwise, when people approach you, it may come across as the door is not open. You have to earn it
Mhm.
because many of them are private. And and so and then people who are trying to be open and they like you and they want to get in, it has nothing to do with them, may feel rejected because, and everyone write this down, because they're not getting facial validation or confirmation from you. So think about
Mhm.
everyone out there. Well, if you've ever had someone say to you, "Oh my gosh, I just shared with you how lousy my day with," and you act like you don't care, and the person may not did anything; they might have just been listening, but because the person who was going through something emotionally did not see any facial affirmations or validations. So here's what this looked like. So if you were telling me, "Oh my gosh, Linda, you ain't gonna believe what happened. I was driving and this and this and this." Oh, and this, thank goodness I'm alive. And I'm going through and I'm going like this. Oh, see, that's validation.
Mhm.
And you're telling me you're going through something and you just lost something or something happened. I'm going, see, and so what happens, some people don't even give that. So you can't emote what's not coming out. So the moment that I said, what gives you joy? Boom. We need a little of that light too. And that's, I believe, and not in his defense,
Mhm.
could be what they're saying because you were excellent at your work. So when people say, well, I'm good at my work, everything's good, da da da, what's the problem? It's the human connection.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's also the subject matter like that I would often
Yes.
talk about. I was always talking about crime and, murders and stuff like that. So it was hard. It was so hard for me. So I get that. I really
Yes.
get that. I think
And you
that's
have to
fair.
mentally protect yourself. But what would happen? Just like the situation that was going on in Hawaii, because one of the journalists, who of course lived on the East Coast, but
Mhm.
was from that was their home, they couldn't help it when they were reporting from the scene. This is my home. the emotion hit when you're supposed to be nonpartisan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens. So the drama of being on air, if something happens and you give it a challenge to the audience, wow, it could have been either of us. See, you don't have to say a
Mm-hmm.
word. It's the bridge.
Mm.
Ah!
I get that. I needed you then. I needed you
But
then.
you
No,
can't
that's great.
now. But does that make sense? So
Yeah.
now you left that audience with some powerful words.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do all we can do to help our fellow man, because it could be you or it could have been me. See, and the tone
Mm-hmm.
without doing anything else. No tears, no nothing. That's what happened to Oprah. Remember Oprah in her earlier days when she was on the scene in the field, she got emotional, you
Yeah.
know. So you could be disconnected, but at the same time be present at the same time.
Got it. Got it. That makes so much sense. Like that makes so much sense. I got it. Got it.
But you got me now. You got me now, sis. You got me now.
Yeah. One more thing, if you have just a few more minutes, I
Yes.
wanted two more things I wanted to talk to you about. Is just because we're talking about virtual. How can we connect virtually since so much of our lives are being done, meetings are happening this way? How can we still command attention and presence through Zoom, Google Meet, through virtually?
Absolutely, just like what we're doing now. So I bet everyone who's going to watch this episode will say, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in the living room with them. I feel like they're in." That's what you want to do. Here is the thing: always remember that when you're doing virtual presentations, if you were not a rock star in the boardroom, it will be death on the screen. All right. So I'm just telling you. So if
Right.
you're if you are doing those same old meetings that people dread coming to in person, you will lose them virtually, because virtually you're forcing them to be locked in looking at you, whereas if I'm in the office, I could just daydream as to what I'm going to have for lunch. I can look out, but now I'm forced to do this. So you've got to engage me. So it's so important, and you as a journalist know, you want to make sure that you have much of your upper carriage displayed as possible. When you speak, people say, what does that have to do with it? All journalists, the desk is built actually little bit right below at the belly button
Belly
level,
button.
because right, there's a reason for that and science behind it. We have a lot of vulnerable organs there, and when you speak from, that's a truth authentic place. We're one of the few creatures, if I believe, on earth that walk upright and expose our most vulnerable organs. Animals don't do it, they protect it. So when we speak from that, we're being vulnerable, if we will, and so it comes across as being authentic when I can see as much of your upper carriage as possible. Learning to lean in. Don't always do your presentation sitting down. When my niece was my little producer during the pandemic, and I would have a little studio area. We'll mark the floor, and I would my X marked there. And soon as I'm on camera, I'll walk in and says, "Hey, you guys, it's so good to see you," as if I'm walking into your room or your office. Make sure that your background is welcoming and fun, all of that, and be your fun, authentic self. Now, if you're a leader, you want to make sure your screen is on, and you require that the screen be on with the camera on with all your people, because conduct allowed is conduct approved. Out of sight, definitely out of mind. The reason why I'm turning on the camera, I knew the meeting was going to be this certain day. You already know, as a leader, as a team member. So I don't want to hear the fact that your hair wasn't done. It probably wasn't done when you came to the office anyway. So the fact is, you already know the date, the time, and the meeting. Show up, because you never know who is on the other side. Could be your executive leadership. Could be someone that may have an interest in your career. Out of sight, out of mind. And if you're working for a company that allows you the opportunity of a hybrid situation or a flex schedule, what does it mean? That you're able to go into the office so many days or stay home. Go into the office as often as you can, because those who are seen are visible. And when you're visible, you're going to get remembered. And when you begin to talk, and then your ideas will get planted in and last longer, as opposed of someone who was just on the camera in the meeting. So let's say we had a meeting. You elected to stay at home. I says, you know what, girlfriend? I thought if you want to go into the office today, we could have lunch at our favorite place. But I don't know, I'm going to do the meeting at home. I'm going to go in. The meeting is good. It's juicy. It's saucy. Great things that are taking place. They're looking for leaders for this next project that they're working on. Guess what? Soon as the meeting is over, this is what happens to those of you who are on the screen. You go right to the part that says end meeting, leave meeting. But guess what? Oh, I'm there for the afterglow. I'm there to continue the conversation. So look what happens when we miss those opportunities. And some of your bigger and larger companies are now encouraging for people to come back in because they need that, and they're looking at production hours as well and the efficiency. So when you are on virtual, I want you to Zoom like a superstar. You act like millions. You connect with people. So if you're the one leading the meeting, people coming on board and they're coming into the meeting. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jackie. It's good to see you. Listen to my words. Hey, Steve and Jackie. If their camera is off, listen to my words. Hey, Steve and Jackie. It's good to see you. See, the camera's off. What are they going to do? Turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
Participate. Hey, great golf game. Heard you guys raised a lot of money for your charitable organization. Kudos. So I'm building that rapport for the meeting starts. Hey, by the way, for all early arrivers, your name goes in a hat, doing special drawing. Here's what we've got. Starbucks cards, this and this and this and that. Make it engaging again. If your meetings were not great live, you're gonna have to level it up. You're gonna have to 10x it up, baby.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. And of course, move with purpose. Use your hands to punctuate, accentuate, make a point. Let them see the palms of your hand when you're speaking. All this is important. And we could do a whole show on all of that.
I know. This is so good. Our last segment is called Act Up. And people are hearing all of this and they've gotten such great information, but they're trying to figure out what are some of the things that they can do today to take them from where they are to where they want to be? How can they show up differently to their own advantage?
So here's one of the things that you want to do. I want you to get out your journal, your success journal, whatever it is that you keep your notes in, or if you put it on the computer, doesn't matter, whatever works for you. And I want you to write down where you are going to be and what are you going to be doing, what position that you're going to hold a year, 2 years, or 3 years from now. Okay. So if you choose, okay, I'm new at the job. I'm going to do 3 years from now. So I want you to write it down, define what it looks like, describe where it looks like. I want to know, even when you arrive at your destination, your purpose, whatever that may be, your current situation, I want to know what color you're wearing. If you're going to wear a suit, if you're going to wear a dress, if you're going to do this, I want to know all of that. And I want you to envision what's happening and all this good stuff there. Everything. I'm now a VP. I'm now a junior partner. I'm now this. I want you to write all that down. I want you to fast forward to the future. Okay. Now you've got that part there. Then here's what's going to be critical. I want you to write down the steps it took you to get there. Because remember, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between falsehood and reality. Whatever you speak into it and begin to plant into it, the brain thinks, okay, we're going into action. Let's work upon it. And I want you to write down the habits it takes to get there. Now that is the money deal right there, the habits. So, if you need to lose weight, one habit's going to be eating right. One habit's going to be eliminating things that do not serve your body. Another habit's going to be exercise. That's a habit. That's the habit. So you have to write down the habits that you have to utilize to replace the habits that are not serving you. Very critical. All of that, and then write down what is a non-negotiable in this journey. And so if you could take that, then the excitement of what's before you and the challenge that's what's before you. Look at Simone Biles. I love her. The girl defies gravity. She's doing things that are unheard of. What the heck? Let's name that after her. Go ahead, am I going to do it? Let's name it after her. So what happens is she comes back after a year, gets married. Wow. All the things that she went through. Comes back after a year. But look what she sacrificed to get to where she was. Her mother, she had to sacrifice and leave her mom to go and live with a family so she could have all the tools that she needed to be successful for this day and time, for that one moment on the beam, for that one moment on the mat. Because she knew that it was going to be greater later. So get out of the instant stuff that you think, the fast food stuff. What can you immediately do now is make the commitment. I'm going to change. There's a list of things I'm going to change, but this is one thing I'm going to change today. Some of you out there might think, I've got a sharp tongue. I'm always a little selfish. I'm always this. So here's what you can do. You could say me first. What does that mean? Everyone that you meet, everyone that you encounter, you're going to be the one to add value first. You're going to be one to connect first. Hey, can I help you with that project? I could stay after work. You're going to be, and watch what it do. What it will do, what it's going to do to the serotonin, what it's going to do, oxytocin, what it's going to do for them, but watch what it's going to do for you.
I love that. I love that. I feel like calling you a body language expert is so limiting because it's so much bigger than that for you. It's so much bigger. It's such a gift that you have to see people and really inspire them to be their best selves.
I appreciate that. I want to let everybody know because the people they'll after this episode they'll reach out. I do have an ebook, Linda
Good.
Clemons books. So Linda Clemons ebooks, or just go to my Instagram and hit the link. There's a free download, some good stuff, but get the ebook so you can find out a little bit more about my story and how I started. And I got some good things that are coming soon. Hopefully we can come back later and talk about it another time.
You can come whenever you want. You can come, and I will put all of the links in the show links and in the newsletter, which will start by the time this airs. Linda, thank you so much for your time and just sharing your gift with us. It's fantastic. If you ever go to a conference or anywhere where Linda Clemons is on the bill, show up. Show up. It is worth everything.